Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into something truly incredible. It's a piece of research that's literally teaching AI how to see one of the most complex and delicate things you can imagine, a tumor growing inside a human brain. And really, this whole story boils down to one single, absolutely critical question. When a doctor is planning a surgery, or an oncologist is figuring out a radiation plan, they need a perfect map of that tumor. So the big question is, how can AI help them get it? See, mapping a brain tumor is so much more than just, finding it. It's about knowing its exact edges, its shape, its volume, and how it's nestled in with all the healthy tissue around it. We're talking about a challenge where every single millimeter counts. Now, the super technical term for this is semantic segmentation. I know, it sounds a little intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually pretty straightforward. Imagine the AI looking at a 3D MRI scan. Its job is to go in and color, pixel by perfect pixel, every single part that's tumor and nothing else. It's basically creating this incredibly detailed digital blueprint of the disease. And let's be really clear, this is not just some academic exercise. A better, more accurate map means more precise surgery. It means more targeted radiation. It means doctors can see if a treatment is actually working. Bottom line, accuracy here really does save lives. So for years, AI has actually been pretty decent at this, using a specific kind of tool. But, as we're about to find out, even the sharpest tools can have a pretty significant blind spot. The reigning champ, the gold standard for this job, is an AI called a fully convolutional neural network, or FCNN for short. For a long, long time, these models have been the best in the business, and they are amazing at looking at an image and spotting all the tiny, fine details. But here's the problem. FCNNs work by looking at an image in small chunks, piece by piece. Think about it like you're trying to understand a giant painting, but you're looking at it through a magnifying glass. Yeah, you can see every single brushstroke perfectly, but you completely miss the big picture. The researchers call this tunnel vision, and it's a huge issue because tumors come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're massive, and the FCNN just couldn't grasp that full context. So, to solve this tunnel vision problem, the researchers had to get creative. And they found their inspiration in a totally different corner of the AI world, the part that deals with human language. They turned to a technology called transformers. And trust me, you've used these. If you've used Google Search or an online translator, you've used a transformer. Their superpower is understanding context. Just like you need to understand how all the words in a sentence relate to each other to get the meaning, a transformer can learn how all the pixels in an image relate to each other. So the researchers had this wild idea. What if we could get a transformer to read a medical scan, just like it was a sentence? And this is how it works. The new approach takes the entire 3D MRI scan and basically treats it as one long string of information. Then the model looks at how every single part of that scan relates to every other part, all at the same time. This is what lets it build a map that's just packed with context. It gets the big picture, not just the tiny details. And that brings us to the hero of our story today, a brand new model that brilliantly combines the strengths of both of these worlds into one super-powered solution. It's called the Swin UNETR. And the absolute genius of this thing is that it doesn't make a choice between the big picture view of the transformer and the fine-toothed comb approach of the FCNN. It uses both. Okay, let me break down how it works. First, you have the encoder. That's a Swin transformer, and its job is to read the whole MRI to get that global, big-picture context. Then you have the decoder. That's built like a classic FCNN, and its job is to do the detail work, drawing that super precise, pixel-perfect map. But here's the secret sauce. These things called skip connections. They're like bridges that connect the two parts, feeding that big-picture understanding directly to the detail-oriented part, making sure nothing gets lost along the way. So, the theory is absolutely brilliant. But the big question is, does it actually work any better in the real world? Well, to find out, the creators of Swin UNETR did what any great competitor would do. They stepped into the ring to prove it. Yeah, they didn't just publish a paper and call it a day. No way. They submitted their model to a huge international challenge to go head-to-head with the best of the best in medical imaging AI. And that competition was the BRATS Challenge in 2021. That's the Brain Tumor Segmentation Challenge. You can basically think of it as the Olympics for this exact kind of task. So the result? You know what? I'm just going to read you the line straight from their paper. It says their model ranks among the top performing approaches in the validation phase.
They didn't just build something new, they built something that performs at an absolutely elite world-class level.
So what does all this mean for us? It means doctors now have a new, powerful, and proven tool that can help them create way better maps of brain tumors. And that can lead to better diagnoses, better treatment plans, and a much better way of seeing if those treatments are actually working. And that kind of brings us to the thought I want to leave you with. This technology gives us a whole new way of seeing inside the human body, with just stunning clarity. And if AI is getting this good at mapping something as complicated as a brain tumor, it really makes you wonder, right? What other invisible diseases, what other hidden challenges could it help us see and solve next?